Thank you for the warm welcome. It's already a long day here, um, and I'm really excited to talk a little bit about C&A's transformation journey and give some insights of how we try to bring business and IT closer together throughout the transformation as well. Here it is. Yeah. So, for all the participants outside of Europe who may not know who C&A is, just a brief introduction. C&A is a fashion retailer with tradition. Our founders, Clemens and August Brenningmeier, founded C&A in 1841 already. So it's a long time of tradition and long time of history. And they started with the idea in mind to change the world of fashion. And that is exactly what we're still doing today, day in and day out, within our online shops and the 1,400 stores across 18 European countries. So we are one of the leading fashion retailers in Europe. And myself, I'm Martin Wieschollek. I'm 38 years old, and I'm with C&A since 9 years now, roundabout. And before I started with my passion for enterprise architecture, I was in the business of business process management, which you might see in my presentation that links many things of how we transform business processes and how we support business process transformation with enterprise architecture. The challenge we are facing with, and retail is always challenging, is we have to move quickly. So we decided some days ago that we have to more focus on customer centricity, as we have to strengthen our market position as with C&A in Europe, as the customers' expectations are higher than ever. They're changing faster than ever, and we have to compete with several new competitors on the market. So we have decided to focus more on the customer journeys in an omni-channel world, that we have really to change the customer experience, that to link the channels, the online and our brick and mortar stores. And there we decided that we have to go and focus on process outcome, on process output to the customers, and that we have to become more flexible and agile to tackle all the upcoming future changes we may not know today, because who knows what will be in sales and omnichannel and online marketing in 3, 4, 5 years' time. So we don't know, but we know we have to adapt quickly in future. So this leads to the bold decision that we have to do a transformation, the biggest transformation ever C&A did. So we have two major pillars we have to focus on. The one is really obvious. It is the optimization of our omni-channel capabilities so that we can serve the customers every day, everywhere, and to fulfill the expectations of our customers. The second big pillar is the transformation of our supply chain. Because even if we have the best online shop, the best user or customer experience in the stores, if we don't have the right product with the right price, the right location, to the right time, no customer journey would ever make a sale. Yeah? So with this, we decided not to do just slightly evolutions of our supply chain. We completely redesign our supply chain, and with that, we have to completely redesign our IT landscape. And this leads to the business transformation of the processes and the systems one in one. The major challenge for the starting point was to decide how we should proceed. As mentioned, C&A has quite a long history. And if we look on capabilities of C&A, like planning, sourcing, logistics, selling, and all the stuff, this is quite reflected in our structural organization. So it's formally structured like we have departments, directors for all these areas. And from my time and experience in business process management, I know how challenging it is to serve a product or a service across a functional organization where you have to touch multiple departments, many handovers, and many maybe as well application and media breaks in between. And if we want to improve the customer's experience and the outcome to the customers, we have to focus on the processes. This means for the big transformation journey, we cannot focus on the capabilities, which we heard today sometimes because EA is often related with capability mapping is quite important. It is, but we decided not to focus on the capabilities, as with focus on capabilities, we would just foster the silo thinking of our organization and the functional structure. We wanted to break this, we wanted to focus on the processes, to become more flexible and agile. And how we did this, I would like to describe our first 5 steps within the next session, or minutes. The good point at this time is, for my years before enterprise architecture at C&A, I was already lucky to implement a process map for C&A, which was commonly used in our organization for many projects. And this process map was already designed as end-to-end process map, always focusing on the customer output. This means, for instance, procure to pay, demand to fulfill, always having the customer in mind that we serve to the customer our products and our services. With this process map as starting point, we go into the journey of our transformation. Maybe if you, as mentioned, capabilities is quite important, and you may wonder if this works, what I'm telling here. I would just show you where we are already within our transformation journey. So the things I'm talking about here is already some times ago. So the very starting point, the first 5 steps to create the future vision of C&A is some month ago, and we are already in the implementation of the first applications and new processes. I've seen already the first prototypes. This training starts soon, so we're really on the way to get it done already. And the next slides show the first 5 steps, starting from a process map, from E2E processes, to create the first vision of a target architecture landscape, at least how we did it at C&A. The first step was quite straightforward. With our E2E processes, we selected the scope for the program. So from our C&A process map, which in totally includes around about 300 processes, we selected 100 processes, which are in scope of the transformation for our supply chain project. With these selected processes, we identified the process owners, if we not already had some defined, and we defined process owners on 2 sides. The one process owner on the business side, who owns the process from a business perspective with business KPIs, and a second process owner from an IT side, how to support this process best with IT applications and IT services. With this mapping of the owners to the processes, we started to map out applications. So we decided on a strategic level how we would like to renew our IT landscape, and we decided to go with strategic partners. And we mapped out the solutions of the strategic partners to each and every process and scope, so that we had already the first idea of process application mapping for the future IT landscape of C&A. With this mapping, we started into a very intensive phase of business process blueprinting. So it was a period of around about 6 to 9 months, where we designed a detailed process flow for each of the 100 processes selected for the transformation program. And we developed together with the software vendors, with the business experts and the IT experts, a view on the future process, how this process should be in future with C&A. Finally, as we mapped out all these processes together in Signavio, we did a big process walkthrough. I don't know, plenty of people in a quite big room, and we walked through the full new target operation model of C&A across all processes, aligned on it. We got the business buy-in as well to support the processes, and we as well validated if the solution should work, as the software vendors were as well in. With these processes, we were able as well to map the artifacts of the process to our LeanIX architecture model. The processes are imported to LeanIX at the basis. The lanes in the processes are mapped to the user groups in LeanIX. The single activities of the processes we mapped to business capabilities on level 3. Yeah, so we called them application functions, so very fine granular business capabilities. The data objects are obvious data objects as well in LeanIX, and we mapped as well in Signavio the applications to each and every step. So we had already the process application mapping and the capability application mapping out of this exercise. We were able then, with a technique I know as well from business process management, which is called SIPOC. SIPOC means supplier, input, process, output, customer. With this technique, it is from lean management and Six Sigma, we were able to create an integration architecture in LeanIX, shown in a data flow later on, quite fast. So we walked through on an output-driven analysis as we focus on customer output, so what we deliver to the customers, and started at the output of each process. So we looked at the data objects of the processes. What is the outcome of a process? Who needs the outcome? Who's the customer of this process? We identified the process with the fine granular capabilities inside and mapped this to the applications. So we had our application mapping. We looked what is needed in this application to create or fulfill those capabilities. So we identified the inputs, and we asked where are the inputs are coming from? Which application creates this information? And with this technique, we were able, together with 5 experts from the different vendors and some enterprise architects from C&A, to map out the full target picture within 5 working days for C&A, with including 70 applications and 300 plus integrations. And we validated this throughout the business process blueprinting and refined it on and on. Once we had the refinement of the architecture, the version 07 it was, we could do some assessments. And here it was the first point in time where we focused on capabilities, spotlight now on capabilities. We identified a lot of fit. So this means application fit to processes. As we already discussed the processes with the software vendors, we go for best practices, and we see that there were just very few deviations from the standard applications. We identified some gaps where all the vendors said, oh, that's not a thing we could do. So we built some architecture deep dives where we tried to fill the gaps in our target picture. And even through our focus on processes, we identified some overlaps in the architecture where we were able to remove applications or remove redundant capabilities, or at least reduce the license scope of some of the vendors, that we can really improve our architecture target picture for the transformation journey. And this is then finally how it looks like. This was the result after 5 days and plus refinement over some months. And the major values we derived through this workout is the first point is a clear alignment on the target architecture together with the business as they understand this picture. So I have never seen before business guys who understand such an architectural layout picture because they were part of developing it. Yeah? As well, the IT buy-in is as we changed so much stuff in the IT, so we had a buy-in from IT and business and all know this architecture. This as well, I think, is a great thing. Once we start changing it, everybody knows about it. Everybody knows what to do, and everybody already sees the impact of a change, of future changes. As this architecture as well was a great tool as input for the contract negotiations with our partners and vendors. We really were able to save annual costs of 1 million euros throughout the mapping and capability adjustment later on, but as well through the clear focus on what we need at C&A. So we don't board things we may need in future. We really focus on the things we need for our transformation journey. And finally, this output is as well was used for the planning of the project timelines, rollout plans, and at least as well for the needed resources. As we mapped all the business owners, IT owners, they know which resources are needed to implement this tool, this process. And we already could identify first high-level indication for the training needs, as we as well mapped the user groups from the processes. We know, the buyers have to do this training, the logistic guys have to do this training. We have already identified this information as well throughout the mapping and the journey to our target architecture. Finally, we know this architecture will never be implemented throughout the multi-year rollout. Yeah? So we continuously update it, we continuously changing it and improving it. But I'm really confident that we do the changes, the upcoming changes in future, together, close together with business and IT, and well documented for sure in LeanIX. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin, for your insights with C&A. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, and as we have really many more highlights on our agenda, I'm a little bit afraid that could you answer this question very briefly so we can do one question at least? Is that all right? So I just, you cannot see the question. So don't you think processes are too fine-grained to focus on for business transformation? Have you considered value streams instead?
Answer to question one, no. But well, the process we designed in Signavio, all of them fit to a A4 page. So there were a maximum 10 to 12 steps in the process, which are quite good as well for management to understand and to sign off and to align across the company. And yes, we considered value streams, but we've decided to focus on the customer. So really on the end-to-end views that we as well started to think in our organization in a different way, that it's not only the logistics team or the sales team or the marketing team, we have to work together to serve the customer. And this is why we focus on end-to-end processes instead of value streams.
All right, thank you very much for being so quick and easy with the answer. It was a pleasure to have you here, Martin. Thanks very much and enjoy the evening.
Thank you for having me.